Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in a few minutes, but if you would like to offer incense before the service begins, you are welcome to do so at this time, or you can do so after the service. Namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots.
Good morning and welcome to this morning service. We are the Koga Family. We will start off with silent meditation led by Reverend Sharon.
As one little candle lights another, so the light of a Buddha's compassion will pass from one mind to another mind endlessly. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda.
We will now chant the Jujigin on page 35 of the service book.
Gagon chosegan hishimujodo shigan fumanzo seifu joshoga gao muryoko Fuidai seshu Fusai shobingu Seifu joshoga Gashi jobundo Myosho chojipo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Joshoga Ryoku Jinshonen Joe Shubongyo Shigumu Jodo Isho Teningshi Jindiki Endai Ko Fusho Musaido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kai Hi Chiegen Meshi Kon Moan Hei Sakusho Akudo Tsudan Zen Shimon Koso Jo Manzo Hioro Jipo Nichigan Shujuki Tenkon Pugen Hishikai Hozo Kosekudokuho Jodai Shuchu Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Butsu Gusoku Shutoku Hon Gane Shinjoman Toku Isan Gayo Nyobun Mugechi Tsudan Mi Fusho Gangaku Eri Toshi Sai Shoson Shiganyakoka Daisen Okando Kokushotenin Tochin Myokem Namandabu 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 Ganishikudoku Byodo Seisai Doham Bodaishin Aja An Rako Namanda, boots namanda, boots namanda, boots namanda, boots namanda, boots namanda, boots namanda.
Reverend Sharon Sasaki will now share a Dharma school message.
please join me in Gasho. May all beings be happy. May they be joyous and live in safety. All living beings, whether weak or strong, in high or middle or low realms of existence, small or great, visible or invisible, near or far, born or to be born, may all beings be happy. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. So good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all here on this beautiful February morning. I guess Gloria told me it's Washington's birthday actually today. So happy birthday to George Washington. And so the title of my talk, as you can see here, is Thank You, Sri Lanka. And the reason is that some of you know that last month, Robert and I were able to spend 18 days on a Buddhist pilgrimage trip to Sri Lanka. So you might be wondering, where is Sri Lanka? This is a map of Asia, and you can see that China's here. Can you see my, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. So this is China here, and then we have India here in the orange. And so down here, see, in the little blue island here, this is Sri Lanka right here at the bottom southeast tip of India. And it is about the size of West Virginia and just north of the equator. So it's warm and tropical all year round. And instead of 4 seasons, Amila, our leader, said they have 2 seasons, wet and dry. So I think we were there during at least that part of the island considered dry season. What does Sri Lanka mean? Resplendent or venerable island. Sri means radiant, blessed, holy, fortunate, or illustrious, and it's used as an honorific title of respect. So you'll see things that start with Sri, other, venerable or, things that are considered sacred or holy, Sri. And then Lanka is island. And so there have been different historical names of this island. And the ancient Sanskrit name was Lanka, or island. The early name in Sri Lankan chronicles was Tambapani. And used by Arab and Persian traders, they called it Serendib or Serendip. And the colonial name during the period of when it was colonized by Portuguese/Dutch and the British, they named it Ceylon. And the official name since 1972 has been Sri Lanka. So some of us who are on the older side remember it as Ceylon. So it's also known as the island of serendipity. Have you heard that word before, serendipity? I think there was a movie called Serendipity a while ago. And what's the definition of serendipity? To find valuable or agreeable things that you weren't looking for, or an unplanned, fortunate discovery. Here's an example. If you're eating dinner at a restaurant and you see our BTSD taiko group playing there, and you try playing and you love it, and you have start to play taiko after that. Our group played at Jasmine last night, so I thought of that as serendipity for some of the kids who seem to really enjoy playing when we had a open drum session after our performance. So it's a small island, as you could see from the map, but very, very diverse. And from this picture, you can see some snapshots of Sri Lanka, the beauty of Sri Lanka, with beaches, mountains, wildlife, and it also has ancient ruins, Buddhist ruins, and you can see from some of the people in this slide, kind and gentle people. And the Arab and Persian traders likely called it Serendip because the island was famous for gemstones, such as sapphires, and spices, and cinnamon. So that was what it was, known for then. And for me, it kind of felt like a cross between India and Hawaii. We enjoyed the food there, and it had a lot of Indian influence with curries and lentils and rice. And this picture is of a hopper. It's a Sri Lankan thin, bowl-shaped pancake made of fermented batter of rice flour, coconut milk, and yeast. So they're very yummy and, yeah, tastes good. This one has egg in it, but you can have them sweet or savory. This one was our breakfast one. They also have some American establishments, which I was a little surprised to see. We went to Pizza Hut there with our group. And the pizza was like our Pizza Hut here, except I think we had more exotic flavors. And they also have KFC and they have Domino's pizza. I was awed by the power of water there and how people developed systems to manage it. In the 4th century BCE, about 2,400 years ago, the Sri Lankan king Pandukabaya built some of the first reservoirs or tanks to support agriculture around Anuradhapura, which was the ancient capital of Sri Lanka. So the irrigation systems were very, very advanced for that point in time, and a real source of pride for the country. The power of water also has had a lot of devastation to the country. Over just this past Thanksgiving time, Sri Lanka experienced a huge cyclone, and more than 600 people died, and damage like this photo that I took there happened purely because of massive rainfall. And then even a bigger tragedy happened in 2004 during the tsunami, and more than 40,000 people died in that tsunami. So Sri Lanka is very important in Buddhist history. As you know, I think, Buddhism began in India, but it declined there in the 12th century. And Sri Lanka is considered to be the oldest continuously Buddhist country. And it's where the Buddhist teachings were first written down. The Buddhist flag, have you seen this before? The Buddhist flag? It was designed in Sri Lanka in 1880 to mark the revival of Buddhism in Sri Lanka. So it also had gone through a period of decline. And you can see what the colors represent in the Buddhist flag. The blue is for universal compassion. The yellow is for the middle path. You know how the Buddha avoided extremes and did the middle path. Red is for blessings or positive karmic conditions and that you have received. White is for purity and liberation, and orange is for wisdom. So we visited, while we were there, a really great Buddhist bookstore. And I found some books that were used in their public schools. It is a Buddhist country, a largely Buddhist country. So I was curious about how in Sri Lanka, how their Dharma school students learned the Buddha Dharma, K through 12, and what they teach. So these books are that on the slide are for 6th graders and 2nd graders. And so just a few of the lessons from those books. This one was called Everything Changes, and the girl, Somali, is admiring the beautiful roses in her garden and looking forward to showing them to her friends the next day. But guess what happens? Can you guess what happens? What do you think, Kiana? Yeah. So all the petals had fallen off by the next morning. Yes. She became upset and went to her mom, who tells her that all flowers fade away like the roses. And then her grandmother tells her about her grandfather, who was young and handsome. Then he grew older, and then he died. And how she herself was nice looking when she was young, but not as much anymore. That was in the book. And so they called this a lesson of the 3 characteristics of existence, which is everything is temporary or impermanence. Because of this, it causes sadness, dukkha, or suffering, and that there's nothing that would be there forever, or everything is without a self, or anatma. So that's what they taught in this lesson. And for me, it felt like the Sri Lankan version of Think, B-I-I-G, which some of you may already be familiar with from Reverend Dr. Ken Tanaka's lessons. So Reverend Tanaka talks about how life is B-I-I-G, bumpy. Life is bumpy. Little, things happen in life that you weren't planning or didn't really want to happen. Life is impermanent. Life is interdependent, and that's the teaching of no self or emptiness, but in a positive way, you call it interdependent. And that life is good. That's the 4 characteristics of existence. This other lesson talks about how to respect monks. And this lesson, they talk about how you must stand if you're seated, if you're with a monk, and you must offer a seat. Cover the seat with a white cloth, go down on your knees and worship the monk. Offer gilan pasa, which is a refreshment, like tea or coffee or soft drinks. So monks do drink soft drinks. And it says to offer pirikara, which is such as robes, books, or something useful. And then the monks will bless you for a healthy and long life. And this is a picture of me receiving a blessing from a venerable monk while we were in Sri Lanka. And I still have the yellow tie that they gave us when we went and visited, which is considered a blessing from the monk. So in Theravada Buddhism, monks take precepts and have strict rules they need to follow, such as they're not allowed to eat after 12 noon every day. No dancing, singing, music, or entertainment, and no handling of money. So those are some of the precepts that the monks follow. And then there's also many, many lay persons there. And you can see here when they go on a pilgrimage, they're wearing white, and they have services at this one is to a stupa, which is a remains of a Buddha or a teacher. This other lesson is called Be Kind to Animals. So this one says, it talks about how the Buddha is kind to animals and how these children are herding a snake. And they're saying, oh, we're trying to kill the snake. But the Buddha talks about, how do you like being hurt yourself? And they say, no, I don't. And so the Buddha talks about how if we try to hurt others, they will be hurt and feel pain. And if we don't like being hurt, we should not be hurting animals either. And you can see the love and compassion for animals all over Sri Lanka from these pictures. You see a lot of wild monkeys. Sometimes they can be a little bit scary, but other times I can sit and watch monkeys all day. They're fascinating. There's also that upper right picture is bats. So you see bats a lot in Sri Lanka during the day and at night. And then the bottom right is a very familiar animal to us, the dog. But dogs are, there's lots of, let's say, they just go around wild. They're on the streets, and many, many dogs. When we go running, you come across lots of dogs. But they're pretty much gentle. Like, we never had any issues with the dogs. They're used to being around people, and at least for us, I never saw any dog attack anybody. Yeah. And we also had the opportunity to see elephants in the wild on this one was at a preserve, but elephants are a very venerated animal in Buddhism and in Sri Lanka. And then this lesson is called Let Us Help Our Parents. And it talks about how children in Sri Lanka help their parents at home by organizing their school uniform and bag, cleaning the kitchen, washing dishes, setting the table. I'm sure a lot of you help your parents with this. Helping with the laundry, weeding the garden, and picking vegetables. So I wish I did this much help to my parents when I was a child, but I'm sure a lot of you do. We saw firsthand how kids help their parents in Sri Lanka. When our group was taking a break, our leaders ordered coconuts for us to drink out of as refreshments. So you see the little girl with the rabbit ears is holding a coconut. And so these two girls were helping their dad by passing out the coconuts and straws. And this is me receiving a coconut from the little girl. Very, very adorable. So that'll conclude my slides for now. I hope it gave you a little taste of Sri Lanka. And this is our group. I'm very, very thankful to our leader, Shantam Seth, who his teacher was Thich Nhat Hanh. So he's of the Plum Village tradition. And he led us in meditations and explained and read sutras at different sites. So it was very meaningful to us to be able to hear the words of the Buddha and meditate in front of some of the sacred Buddhist sites. And I learned a lot from our fellow pilgrims on our tour together. There were 11 of us, I want to say. And it was so I'm thankful for able to do the trip, and thankful to all of you for me being out for 3 weeks on this trip. And thank you all for listening. Please join me again in Gasho. May all beings be happy. May they be joyous and live in safety. All living beings, whether weak or strong, in high or middle, or low realms of existence, small or great, visible or invisible, near or far, born or to be born, may all beings be happy. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida.
Thank you, Reverend Sharon, for sharing your experience from Sri Lanka. We enjoyed living vicariously through your stories and photos and look forward to seeing more of them. Please stand if you are able to join us for the Gatha, a special place found on page 100 in the service book, and remain standing for the golden chain after.
golden chain.
I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will link mine.
I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself.
I will think pure and beautiful thoughts and say pure and beautiful words and do pure and beautiful deeds.
May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we attain in perfect peace. Namadapsu. 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 Okay, bye. Turn it off.
We'll now have the installation of the board of directors.
Good morning. Thank you for all coming this morning. We'll have the installation of the board. I need to get my glasses. As I call your name, would you please come up? Michael Kinoshita. Kimberly Cruz. Luann Lee. Sharon Sasaki. Bob Schultz. Greg Yonakura. Laura Yoshida. She's downstairs. Come up, Laura. Ralph Honda. I think Ralph is downstairs too. Ken Murioka. Ken's right here. Arturo Rubio, will you come down, please? And Sharon Sasaki. Katie Sumida. Bill Teague. There's Laura. Ron Tokunaga. Glenn Torrio. And our affiliate organization, Ann Ong for Taiko and Chelsea Koga for Taiko. From the BWA, we have Sumoribe and Junko Tajita. I don't think she's here though today. I think she's in Arizona. From Dharma School, we have Lisa Umukubo. And from Junior YBA, we have Lorena Rosales. Oh, oh, oh. Camera down, camera down. Okay. So this is our board of directors of the Buddhist temple. And as you see them, please thank them for their dedicated hours that they put in for managing the temple. And, you know, we wouldn't have these services and the experience and the programming of this temple without volunteers. So this is the opportunity to recognize them and thank them for their volunteer service. It's extremely difficult to find volunteers to take these roles, and many of these people have done it for many years, and so when you see them, please thank them. We'll now start the installation.
Before we start, just want to say thank you so much to Kurt, our board president, for the incredible hard work and efforts you've been putting in. I don't know how you do it, so thank you. Could everyone please form a half circle and face the Onaijin with your hands together in Gasho? You, the newly elected officers of the Board of Directors of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego, in accepting this office, take upon yourselves certain responsibilities toward your Sangha and temple. Are you willing to forego some of your personal desires for the common good? Are you determined to do your part during your term in office in spreading the ideals of Shin Buddhism by living it by its core values, which is a life of gratitude for the benevolence of the Buddha and the respect for the interdependence of all life? Will you provide your best effort and treat all others with respect and fairness? Your participation in serving this group with the values of Shin Buddhism will enhance your life and those of your fellow members. If you will take these responsibilities, please repeat the following affirmation. I take office in the Board of Directors of the Buddhist Temple of San Diego. I accept my responsibilities and affirm my aspiration to keep the teachings of the Buddha as my guide. Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Congratulations and thank you to the Temple Board of Directors. Did we have a round of applause yet? Thank you so much to all of you. A photo.
So part of installing the new board, we have 3 members that I'd like to recognize that served on the board for the last few years, some longer than a few years, that has stepped down from the board. Mike Ong, will you please come up in Oshoko? Mike served on the board for many years, and he brought me onto the board, and so that's why I'm standing here thanking him now today. We'd like to thank you for your many years of service. Next, I'd like to thank Nancy Martinez. Are you up here, Nancy? Yes, you are. So Nancy has served more years than I can count in many roles on the board. Please, if you see her around, please thank her for dedicated hours. She does not like to be recognized, but Without her, I don't think I could function as president. But she does so much for the temple to make sure it runs for all our events, and she keeps me organized, so I'm going to miss her. Next is Glenn Nagoro, but he is not here today, so I will thank him at a later time. Of theirs? Come back up. Nancy and Mike, we're going to take a photo. Thank you.
We will now celebrate our February birthdays. Please come up if you have a birthday in this month. Come on. Once I come by with the microphone, please say your name and birthday.
My name is Jaden, and my birthday is February 3rd.
My name is Danny, and it's today.
Hey. Happy birthday. Ron, and my birthday is the 26th.
Ralph, February 5th.
We'll now sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dharma friend. Happy birthday to you. Yay! You may now choose a gift.
At this time, does anybody have any announcements?
The temple will be participating in a small annual interfaith neighborhood, helping neighborhood find food collection drive to benefit the San Diego Food Bank. We will be accepting donations of non-perishable foods, items, or monetary donations. Receipts acceptable through Saturday, March 21st, when there will be a drive-through drop-off. You can bring your items through here on Sundays or during office hours. Thank you for your thoughtfulness.
Hi everyone, I'm Bill Teague, and from the membership committee, I've been asked to stay after service for a few minutes. If we have any new members for orientation or people interested in membership, or some old-time members who had a few questions, that's fine too. This will be after Reverend Sharon will be answering questions from any of our visitors. But if you are a new member, have questions about membership, I encourage you to stay after just a few minutes. Thank you very much.
As you saw, the board is made from volunteers. We also have a number of committees. If anybody is interested in helping out the temple in other ways, come see me. We could always use your volunteer time and efforts to support the temple. So that's one of my announcements. The other announcement I have is last weekend I was at the BCA conference, and I brought back about 5 books of Renyo Shonin's collection of letters. It's unique in that it has all the letters Renyo Shonin wrote, and they said simple to read. I have not read the book. So I have copies that will sell through the bookstore. They're $20, and if we need to get more, I can probably find a way to get more. But they're here. If you'd like a copy, either see me or I'll put them in the back of the window there. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to see so many here today. You know, a couple weeks ago, we had we celebrated baby shower for Reverend Sterling and his wife, Jackie. And we have some great news. They are now parents. They have a baby boy. We're going to try to put it up on the screen there, but yesterday, Valen Eisen Davenport was born on February 21st at 12:54 p.m. Big boy, 8 pounds and 10 ounces, 22.5 inches long, and so Sensei and Jackie and baby are resting comfortably, and Sensei will be away for the next few weeks, so to spend time with his family, and so we wish him the best. Congratulations. There's the picture up there.
Good morning, everyone. How many of you guys I know cook good, right? Okay, I want to see your recipes. We are looking for more recipes for our cookbook, okay? And so please send them to, see me after, you can send them to me, or if you know Lisa's email. But see me, or you can, it should be on an 8.5 by 11 paper, but don't worry about it, we'll fix it if it isn't. And let me know if you have a special recipe, and if you have a little story to go with it, it's even better. So thank you.
One more. We have extra commemorative calendars celebrating our temple's 100th anniversary, and I think all the members should have received one. If you'd like to purchase one, their extra one, it's $5. Okay, so they'll be back in the bookstore area where Joyce is. So if you'd like to purchase one, please do so. We have about 20 calendars left.
One last thing. I normally have these ready by the New Year's party. We had them out here a couple of weeks ago. Just a reminder that we do have magnets for you to put on your refrigerator. It has all the upcoming dates of what's happening here at the temple. It also has our weekly calendar. So if you're interested, if you would like, they should be in the back, and just pick them up and put them on the refrigerator, and you'll never miss a date. Thank you.
Dharma School students are now excused for class. Please come to the front to Ashoka.
We will now chant the Vandana and Tisarana on page 96 of the Purple Service Book.
Please join me from the beginning where it says leader. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Kiye Butsu. Namo Kiye Ho. Namo Kiye So. Namanda Buddha. it's Namandab, it's Namandab, it's Namandab, it's Namandab.
I'd like to now welcome Reverend Sharon back to share her Dharma message.
Please join me in Gasho. The Buddha's protection and witness arise from the fulfillment of the vow of compassion. So let those who attain the diamond-like mind respond in gratitude to Amita's great benevolence. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. See, is the screen working? I don't see it from here. Yeah. There we go. So good morning again, everyone. Hello? Oh, okay. And so this part of my talk is kind of a continuation, but I decided to call it Otagai-sama. This past Monday, we held a Gomenichi service here, which is a monthly memorial service for Shinran Shonin. And after chanting Shoshinge together, we enjoyed coffee and bagels together, and we read excerpts from this book, from Gomonchu Kojun Otani, Moving Forward Just As You Are. And in the book, the Gomonchu-sama says that in Japan, people often used to say Otagai-sama to express empathy and support. This saying, "We are in this together," helps us realize that we wouldn't be here without the support of others, both people we know, like our family and friends, and many, many beings who support us but we don't know. So we are in this together. Or another way of looking at it is we have each other's backs. So the spirit of we're in this together applies to Sri Lanka in Buddhist history. I feel a debt of gratitude to this country, which has preserved and protected the Buddhist teachings for more than 2,000 years. So India gave birth to Buddhism, but Sri Lanka ensured that it survived and spread. In the 3rd century BCE, the first fully Buddhist kingdom was established in Sri Lanka. The king of India, which some of you may know, Ashoka, sent his son Mahinda to bring Buddhism to Lanka. And the Sri Lankan king, Tissa, officially adopted Buddhism as the state religion, organizing monasteries, education systems, and ethics around the Buddha Dharma. And this picture is at Mihintal, the site of the first meeting of Mahinda Thera with King Tissa in the 3rd century BCE. So Robert and I got to climb up and go to the site where that meeting first took place. Soon after, in the 3rd century BCE, King Ashoka's daughter, Sangamita Teri, brought a branch of the Bodhi tree, the oldest continuously documented tree in the world, to Sri Lanka. This cutting is from the Bodhi tree, also known as Ficus religiosa, in Bodh Gaya, under which the Buddha attained enlightenment. So you can see how it's the branch is held up with, a golden, base, and it's a very venerated tree in the country. Many pilgrims go to visit the Bodhi tree. So Sri Lanka is significant as having preserved Buddhism during its decline in India, as well as being the root lineage of Theravada Buddhism, also known as mainstream Buddhism. During periods when Buddhism declined in India, Sri Lanka preserved monastic ordination, maintained texts and commentaries, and produced major scholars like Buddhaghosa, who systematized doctrine. Over centuries in other countries, at points of crisis, such as wars and in cases of rivalry, groups of monks from Southeast Asia would travel to Sri Lanka in search of uncorrupted ordination lineages and texts. In this sense, Sri Lanka re-established Buddhism to Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos. However, Buddhism also experienced a decline in Sri Lanka. From the 1500s to the 1900s, Sri Lanka went through 3 successive European colonial periods. First by the Portuguese, then the Dutch, then the British. It became self-governing in 1948 and an independent republic in 1972, when its name changed from Ceylon to Sri Lanka. And in the 19th to the 20th century, Sri Lanka helped spark a global Buddhist revival that later influenced Western Buddhism. So this is the Temple of the Tooth in Kandy. Every year, about 2 million Buddhist followers visit this relic site for access to protective power, performance of rituals, and mental purification. Our group was asked to wear white that day. Wearing white represents purity of mind, sincerity, and a temporary turning toward a more simple contemplative life. The Temple of the Tooth houses a sacred tooth relic believed to belong to the Buddha. According to tradition, the relic was brought from India to Sri Lanka in the 4th century CE and became a symbol of royal authority. Whoever possessed the relic was seen as the rightful ruler of the country, tying religion and state together. When the capital moved, the relic moved with it, and it was eventually enshrined in Kandy, in the central highlands of the island. The temple remains one of the most important Buddhist pilgrimage sites in the world. And the tooth relic is respected as the living Buddha. Some other history we learned. The Portuguese captured what they believed to be the tooth relic in Jaffna in 1561 and took it to the Portuguese territory of Goa in southwest India, where the archbishop publicly pulverized, cremated, and then dispersed it into the river. Fortunately, the item they had captured was either a decoy or a relic of someone other than the Buddha. According to the custodians of several historically significant relics, the practice of maintaining decoys to safeguard important relics continues to this day. Has anyone here visited the stupa relic at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco? Yes, Katie and maybe a few others have. Yeah, I think that's not a decoy. And so more recently, in 1998, the Temple of the Tooth was a target of attacks by Tamil separatists. With a truck bomb which killed 11 people and injured 20 others, they succeeded in seriously damaging the building, though not the relic, which is kept within gold and silver caskets. You can see, this is a close-up picture of it. This is, you can't get very close to it, at the heart of the complex. Many, many people go by, and it's like a big, long line. You wait in the big, long line to get a look at it, kind of like the Mona Lisa, I think, but maybe even harder to get to. So originally, for about 400 years following the death of Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddhist teachings were memorized and passed on orally. Sri Lanka is significant as the place where the Buddha Dharma was first written down in the 1st century BCE. During famine and war, monks feared the teachings might disappear. And with number of monks dwindling, the decision was made to write the Pali Canon down in order to ensure its preservation. So at this site, Aluvihara, they wrote down the Tripitaka, or the Pali Canon, for the first time. This is our tour leader, Amila, demonstrating the writing that was done at the time. So the letters are cut with a sharp stylus into prepared manuscript leaves, palm leaves, which are naturally pale cream or yellow. Then they're smeared with soot that darkens the incision, which makes it easier to read. So this is an example of, the addition of the soot after he wrote with a stylus onto the palm leaf. And so I was really excited because that is my name in Sinhala on the palm leaf. So I got to bring it home. And so he wrote it in Sinhala script as an example of how the palm leaf writing was done. Another visit during our trip that was very meaningful was to the headquarters of Sarvodaya. This term in philosophy was coined by Mohandas Gandhi in the early 1900s. He had read this book called Unto This Last by an English social philosopher, John Ruskin. He translated and entitled it Sarvodaya, which means the well-being of all. And the idea is that all people have the same right to learn a livelihood from their work regardless of trade. A life of labor as a farmer or hand craftsman is a dignified and valuable life. And fair wages and the idea of enabling the least powerful in society and not the most are some of the thoughts behind Sarvodaya. So in Sri Lanka, the Sarvodaya organization was started in 1958 by a young science teacher named A.T. Ariyaratne, who had been inspired by Gandhi's activism and Sarvodaya philosophy. Mr. Ariyaratne was dismayed with the attitudes of upper-class fellow students toward the many villagers who lived in poverty. He decided to organize a 2-week Shramadana, which is a sharing of labor, in which the students would work alongside villagers on basic needs projects and would join them in meals, conversation, and cultural performances. The goal was not to provide charity, but to inspire the awakening of all through the sharing of labor. And this was the start of the Sri Lankan Sarvodaya Shramadana movement. Under Ariyaratne's visionary leadership, Sarvodaya grew into a major welfare service organization with 1,500 full-time employees and about 200,000 volunteers, caring for over 1,000 orphaned and destitute children and supporting more than 4,000 preschools, serving more than 98,000 children. I thought I would skip the video because I don't want this to be too long. But I did want to share this diagram that Sarvodaya developed, which they called the Four Noble Truths of Village Awakening, which goes from a decadent village with a cycle of poverty, conflict, and stagnation. The cause, which is a cycle of ignorance that you can see here. The hope is here. moving toward love, selflessness, and cooperation, and the path of a Sarvodaya village that has economic, cultural, and spiritual development. And this is all under the teachings of the Buddha Dharma. Sadly, Mr. Aryaratne passed away a few years ago, well, less than 2 years ago, in 2024. But the organization is continuing, largely led by his children. We had the opportunity of meeting his widow here and daughters, talking with Robert in this picture, one of them, in their home. And they were telling us how in recent years, the organization has experienced many struggles with a drop in international funding support. Another part of our tour included a Sri Lankan village experience. We saw a husband and wife cut open a coconut and use every part of it, wasting nothing and preparing a delicious meal for us. This experience in the village made me think of another lesson in the Dharma School book, Simplicity as a Way of Life, learning to be content with what you have. And even an excerpt from this recent book, a biography of Mark Twain that includes his experience in Hawaii, which I'll read a little bit of. On March 18, 1866, Mark Twain snatched his first unforgettable glimpse of the Sandwich Islands, now known as Hawaii. As his ship streamed past Diamond Head on Oahu, he beheld seawater of such clarity that it shamed the pale heavens with the splendor of its brilliant blue. Once ashore, he experienced instant enchantment with a place he would anoint as the only supremely delightful place on earth. After the noisy bustle of Nevada and San Francisco, with their eternal striving for money, the islands breathed a pleasantly indolent or slow-moving air with no careworn or eager, anxious faces in the land of happy contentment. In his notebook, he scrawled how in the islands there was no rush, no worry. Merchant goes down to the store like a gentleman at 9, goes home at 4, and thinks no more of business till the next day. The blissful tone was reminiscent of 2 other experiences that he had had safely among the trammels of society, piloting on the Mississippi River and floating idly on Lake Bigler. So this reminded me of the village life in Sri Lanka, and Mark Twain's thoughts about Hawaii, and what he considered blissful and peaceful society. Just sounds wonderful for the times that he was there. This is another group that was inspiring, and it's a husband and wife. So it's this gentleman here with a white shirt here next to Robert, and then his wife is here sitting with a pink shirt. And they had met the Dalai Lama some years ago, and he personally encouraged or challenged them to start an institute that brings Theravada and Mahayana Buddhism together in Sri Lanka. Another place we visited was a tea estate in the mountains, Nuwara. Sri Lanka is per capita the highest producer of tea in the world. I brought some tea that I could hand out, but I don't see it in front of me. I think I might have it in the back. So it's a the tea in Sri Lanka, unlike other countries, is largely harvested by hand, which is very difficult and laborious work. And so this is a picture I took, and you can see a few of the workers picking tea leaves, and then this is the part of the processing of the tea leaves. And then another thing in the Gomonchu's book moving forward just as you are. He talks about how we should show our support and care to those who underwent tragic incidents such as natural disasters, massive earthquake or tsunami, or who suffer from disease such as leprosy. People who have been treated as if they had never existed. Although we are not able to pay attention to all injustice in society, we should at least try to see what we do not see. He gives an example of how Honganji participates in the Jippo program, a nonprofit organization in the fair trade of tea and coffee products. Fair trade means that is a program where we purchase products by those living in developing countries to promote mutual cooperation and understanding. So when we drink tea or coffee, we should be more aware of how those products were made and not turn ourselves away from reality. Fair trade tea refers to tea that has been certified to meet rigorous social, environmental, and economic standards, ensuring that tea farmers and workers receive fair wages, work in safe conditions, and have access to funds for community development. So this is another lesson that I learned, which is how we help each other. And it reminds me of what we recited in the Golden Chain. I will protect all who are weaker than myself. I've come to realize that weaker applies to everyone. Everyone is strong in some areas and weak in others. For example, me, I'm weak in sense of direction. I guess you could say geographically challenged. So, everybody has strong and weak points. And in different times of life, as we get older, for example, our bodies get weaker and our minds get weaker. So we are in this together. So 2 examples of being protected and someone having my back in Sri Lanka. One is when our leader, Amila, on the left, I had been foolish and left my jacket in the hotel room, in one of our hotel rooms, and I just figured, oh, I'm just going to say goodbye to that jacket. I'll never see it again. But probably about 5 days later, we mentioned it to Amila, and our leader, and somehow he worked magic and got it way, he got the jacket delivered from like a very long distance and up to the mountain area that we were. I felt bad about it, but it showed how much he wanted to have my back and support me. This is another example. Our group was meditating together, facing the ocean and the sunset that you can see in this picture. And it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, but there's somebody in the picture. Do you see him? There's a person there, here. I'm circling it now. That's Robert. So we were meditating. Robert was out by the ocean. And this was one, I glanced at him, and this was him sitting on the side of some rocks. The next thing I look over there, and I see this gentleman here yanking Robert out of the water. This gentleman saw Robert, and from far away, he just felt that it wasn't safe, and he just rushed over there to save Robert. It wasn't that he was asking to be saved or necessarily needed to be saved. He may have gotten out by himself, but this gentleman came over to pull him out because he just felt like he has seen people there and was worried. So the spirit of Otagai-sama is that we protect each other, we have each other's backs, and we also protect the Buddha Dharma the way they did in Sri Lanka and in Japan over the centuries and many other countries in history. We can rely on the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha to have our back. So let's protect each other and have each other's backs. Please join me again in Gasha. The Buddha's protection and witness arise from the fulfillment of the vow of compassion. So let those who attain the diamond-like mind respond in gratitude to Amida's great benevolence. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Reverend Sharon, for your message. It's a great reminder of how kindness is spread throughout the world, even in places like Sri Lanka. Can you please rise for the Gatha Ondoku-san 2 on page 128?
We will now have closing meditation. Please put your palms together. Just as rain falls on all vegetation, so Buddha's compassion extends equally to all people. But just as different plants receive particular benefits from the same rain, so people of different nature and circumstances are the outcome of different methods. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated.
Thank you to Minister's Assistant Arturo Rubio for helping prepare the Onaijing and ringing the kancho. Thank you to Reverend Sharon for officiating today's service and sharing your Dharma messages. Thank you to Robert Yamamoto for being today's musician. Our tech team, Brevin Honda, Ken Mudaoka, and Ricky Cheeks for streaming today's service. Lorena Rosales for coordinating gifts for our February birthdays. If you haven't done so yet, you're welcome to come up and offer incense, and please join us for hospitality in the dining room after. Thank you for attending today.